may be the biggest thing that's ever happened.
Wherever there is injustice, you will find us. Wherever there is suffering, we'll be there. Wherever liberty is threatened, you will find
the three AmiVO's. Dave McRae, Garnet Williams, Mike Pongracz. Separately, they are humble Canadian voiceover superstars. Together, they are the three AmiVO's.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here we go.
And now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Hit it.
And with that, we begin the second in the land of VOdcast for the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour. Oh, man. One of these days, I'll actually get this right.
No, that was it. I thought that was it.
You were doing good.
The AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast, right?
Exactly.
Super fun. Yeah, okay. It just sounded weird in my head. But then again, everything sounds weird in my head. Welcome.
I was just about to say that. You beat me to it.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome to the second VOdcast. Many thanks to those who took the time to listen, to download. And what blew me away from sort of the learning experience of the first VOdcast was finding out, and we joked about how in the first one we did origin stories, kind of like superheroes and you know, superpowers, etc., I guess, in that kind of thing. But each of the AmiVO's brings an extra talents to the table that I wasn't completely aware of. I mean, I knew that AmiVO Garnet, you're an imaging and production guy, so all of the imaging sounded fantastic.
Thank you.
AmiVO Dave, you are the master of video, naturally with your film background, but you took the VOdcast and made it this visual masterpiece.
Why, thank you.
And then me, I just kind of sat back, ate Cheetos, and, you know.
But you're the eye candy.
Thank you.
Even though nobody can see you.
Yes. Thank you to everybody that took the time to listen, to download, to provide feedback. It's always appreciated. We are new on the block, and you know, we'd like to think that we're going to bring something a little bit different to the whole voiceover podcasts, VOdcasts, hangouts, etc., etc. So again, thank you to everybody, and a special thank you, as Garnet reminded us before the VOdcast, a special thank you to Sam Cook.
Yes. Sam Cook is a dear friend of mine. She's a outstanding voice artist in her own right, and she agreed to be the imaging voice for the three AmiVO's for all of our projects. So that was her gorgeous bird song-like voice that you heard on the intro, the extro, and she made it a lot less of a sausage fest.
And here's
Let's not start, ladies and gentlemen.
On the program today, a couple of things on the AmiVO docket. We're going to talk a little bit about demos, something that we wanted to touch base on in the first VOdcast, but ended up, we thought we'd save it for number 2. Also, we're going to talk about Voice World Toronto, get a recap on the mixer and the conference, and also maybe find out what the AmiVO's are doing themselves in the studio these days. And somewhere in between all of this, we'll have another 3 AmiVO's iceberg tip, a 3 AmiVO's fun fact. In the meantime, let's begin. And what was really kind of nice from the last VOdcast, what AmiVO Dave, you got across, which was the whole notion of being yourself, knowing your voice, and presenting your best voice forward, which is something that's kind of contradictory when you go to some websites now and you see voice talent, especially newer talent, with a pant load of demos that might not be their strong suit.
Absolutely. There's this thing now, I think, with newbies especially. They feel this necessary need to have a plethora of demos on their website. There's a lot of newbies out there who I think, you know, if they do a bit of research, they go to some websites and they see that some talent will have, you know, an imaging demo, a promo demo, commercial demo, an animation demo, a trailer demo, an e-learning demo, an IVR demo, a this demo, a that demo. And they feel... And maybe this...
It's a lot of damn demos.
That's a lot of damn demos. But it's true. And I think a lot of newbies, when they go to these websites of voice talents and they see all these demos, they feel that, you know, I have to have these demos to compete. because John Doe has 8 demos, I have to have 9 demos. And it's not necessarily their strong point. They might be really good at commercials, and their commercial demo might be really good. That's the demo you have to have, as we all know. You must have a commercial demo. That's the most important demo to have because that's where the bulk of the work is. However, narration is really big too. So having a narration demo is definitely something that you should consider because there's a ton of narration work out there as well. So maybe they have a commercial demo and they might have a narration demo and maybe they have a promo demo, but maybe they're not really strong at animation. Maybe they're not strong at doing characters, but they feel they need this animation demo. And it really, it begins to take away from the professionalism that they're trying to create. Stick to what you're good at, stick to your niche, stick to, having the demos that showcase your strengths. If audiobook's not your thing, don't have an audiobook demo. If e-learning is not really your thing, don't have an e-learning demo, because something that we've always said too is that if you can't replicate what's on your demo when you're in the studio, you're going to run into some major problems. So absolutely, I totally agree with that.
Interesting you say that about replicating stuff on demos. The one red flag that automatically gets raised, and I would say it's one of the most common mistakes that new voice talent, even some, seasoned voice talent, is having an animation demo made up of small snippets and clips where you might be able to do 5 seconds of a voice. But if you can't sustain that, if you get hired for a job and you can't sustain that over a character in a 23-minute program, then you're, like Dave said, you're in a bit of trouble there.
You absolutely are. Here's the thing with animation demos. A lot of people who are first beginning and they want to do a character demo or they want to do an animation demo, forget the golden rule of it's not about just the kind of voice that you can do. You're acting. So the voice has to be doing something. When you're creating an animation demo, they don't just want to hear, yes, hello, how are you today? Yes, I'm walking down, and all these crazy. Okay, that's great. But can you be climbing a hill in that voice? Can you be sword fighting in that voice? Can you be taking a punch in that voice? What does it sound like when that voice laughs or cries or is out of breath from jogging or out of breath from running? The clips have to be of this character that you're creating in the middle of doing something. Your animation demo should sound like a bunch of cartoon clips. That's what it should sound like, not just you in a room doing a bunch of voices.
Yeah, that's just, it's kind of amateurish in a way, because doing established cartoon characters that are currently being performed by guys in Hollywood and getting paid lots of money to do these characters on a regular basis. So if they're on your demo, I don't know what you hope to gain by having them on your demo. There's already somebody else doing it professionally, and most anybody else can't touch that character if you do it that well. The best thing to do is take an established character and try and put your own spin on it. Maybe put your own stamp on it and maybe tweak it a little bit so that it maybe has its foundation in something that you're really good at impersonating, but you make it your own. And I think anybody that does animation will tell you that it's all about making characters your own and organically trying to create them instead of just despite the fact that, what do they say, impersonation is the most sincere form of flattery. In this case, it's really not.
This sort of leads into another topic of producing your own demos, which we kind of touched on at the in the inaugural VOdcast. Sorry. Of all the demos, I would almost say that if you're going to pursue animation, if that's something that you have a talent for, because a lot of people think they have the talent, but they don't. If you do have the talent, if you have the building blocks for an animation career or even sort of a pathway for animation, I personally would say of all the demos that I would put the most money into workshopping, getting, some really good training, and then actually getting a produced animation demo from somebody else who's familiar with animation, who can direct you in the animation script reading, I'd say that's at the top of the list. If you're serious about animation, find a really good animation coach, take some workshops, do some one-on-ones, really get yourself prepared so that when you go into an actual animation demo session where you're paying money, and believe me, if you're going to get a good demo, you're going to pay well for that demo. You may as well get the best stuff out of it. I'd say, put that effort, put the money, put the time into that.
Absolutely.
As opposed to where I think certain talents, maybe not newer talents, but talents that have a little bit of a portfolio or some body of work, it's a lot easier to manipulate and craft your own demo from stuff that you've already done. It helps to get, an objective ear, but I don't think you necessarily have to go into a studio and read mock scripts or prepared scripts. You can actually use your work. Whereas with an animation demo, I think you're better off putting the time, putting the money, putting the effort into that, doing it right, because if you've got the talent, if you want to showcase that, a really good, solid animation demo will do wonders and actually, I would say, pays for itself in the long run.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And the thing is, too, is that, you can take what you just said there about animation demos and apply it to every demo as well in terms of being professionally produced and mixed and mastered. And there are talent out there like the three of us who can produce and mix our own. But the fact that we've been doing it a long time now, most of our demos, if not all of them, are showcases of work that actually exists. So we aren't actually creating the clips. We're just putting the things together, and we have to figure out which order it goes in, where to cut it, how it sounds, and all that kind of stuff, which is a talent in itself. You have to know how to do that. But if you're first beginning, you don't have a plethora of work. You don't have a body of work, or you have very little. So the clips that are going to appear on your demos are going to be fabricated. They're made up, but they have to be very good, and so good that they create the illusion that they are real spots or real cartoons or real promos or real commercials. And a client or an agent or the average person listening to it should not be able to know the difference. That means each clip sounds different. You're closer to the mic in one, further away from the mic in another. Maybe you're more intimate in one and you're louder in another spot. So it's really important that your demos are professionally produced, mixed, and mastered, because the voiceover demo is the equivalent of an on-camera actor's headshot. If you are an on-camera actor, you are not going to submit a photo of you at your birthday party holding a beer. You are going to go to a top-notch photographer. You are going to get it professional. The photographer is going to be a professional photographer with a plethora of work behind them to back themselves up. And they are going to take your photo and make you look like magic. And that is what your demo needs to be like as well. It is the voiceover equivalent of an on-camera actor's headshot, and you need to take it as seriously as that.
Now, I think you just hit the nail on the head as to why I don't get booked for more on-camera stuff, because my headshot actually is of me holding a beer at my birthday. See, even I'm learning from our VOdcast.
Well, I just say that because when I first began my career in 2001, I began doing the on-camera acting side of things, and I've had probably about 4 or 5 headshots over the years, and it's really important. I mean, these headshots are your ticket, and that's what the casting directors see. That's what the agents see. That's how you get an agent. That's how you. And the demo is the same way. That's what these agencies and studios and production companies and casting directors. That's what they're listening to. It's got to sound real. You have to create the illusion that you, I mean, not create the illusion in the sense that your demo is better than what you really are. No. The demo has to reflect your true abilities, but it's got to sound professional. It's got to be professionally produced. And, you have to spend the money to really make that happen. And as Mike said, especially in the animation world, because that's really where your acting chops are tested.
The key with demos, especially getting them produced, you don't automatically wake up one day, say, hey, I'm going to be a voiceover guy. Oh, they say I need a demo. Well, I'm going to go get a demo now. For new talent, there's definitely a progression. I mean, you have to figure out if you are good enough or have abilities that can be worked with. Then you work on those abilities and you work your way up to a point where making a demo makes sense. You have talent, or you have something that is ready to showcase in a demo. one of the big mistakes, and these, it's common knowledge to most people that are in the voiceover business now, but for new talent coming in, there's this world of talent who might not be working, who may not be good enough to work, who have decided, well, let's just open up a little side business and produce demos. And that's when you hear the horror stories of, hey, I'll make a demo for you for $500. What they'll do is they'll grab a bunch of scripts. Yeah. Their buddy who works at a radio station will get them a bunch of scripts. They'll throw you in a booth. They'll record some lines, slap it together with a little bit of stock music. There you go. You've got your 2.5 minute. Well, if they're really bad, they'll give you a 5-minute tape of your stuff, which is, you may as well.
And those demos exist. They're out there.
They do. So that's why it's really important to do not only your research on who's coaching, whose workshops you're taking, the path that you're getting to. It's really important to research and see who's actually producing the demos. There are a lot of people online right now who have some very solid credibility. And if you watched the VO Peeps gathering from a couple weeks back, they were talking to Chuck Duran. Now, Chuck Duran, you'll know him from VO Buzz Weekly, but that guy produces some top-notch demos because he's A, good at it, B, he's been doing it for a long time, he's a musician who's got a great ear. So a guy like Chuck Duran, absolutely. A guy like, I don't know, AmiVO Mike Pongracz out of the back of a van who said, hey, I'll cut you a demo for $75. You have to do your research. Make sure, ask around. Find out, where other people have got their demos from. Some people, like Dave mentioned, we've done our own demos. Our agent has a say in, what we actually put on there. If we send them something and they're like, yeah, I'm kind of getting a lot of calls for this kind of style, maybe showcase this type thing. So we do have an objective ear per se, but we've also produced our own demos because we do have a little bit of a background in working with production and editing and that sort of vein. But for talent that don't have that technical ability, absolutely, you research it, but make sure before you go into that demo session, make sure it's something that you can actually deliver on. Don't do an audiobook demo if you have no ability to read long form or have the stomach to read long form like I do.
Well, not only that, Sorry, I just wanted to capitalize on that point. Not only that, don't do an audiobook demo. Also, if you have no interest. I mean, I have no interest in reading audiobooks. Now, my hat goes off to the people who do. It's definitely a skill to read for that long and maintain your energy. Absolutely. I read narration for TV shows and all that kind of stuff. And that to me is like, oh my God, take after take after take. But if you have no interest in it, if you're like, no, I don't really have an interest in reading, I don't want to read that, then don't do it. Don't do it because your performance is going to suffer if you're not really into it. Because as soon as you do it, Murphy's Law, I guess it's called, right? As soon as you do it, as soon as you post, the demo, is that Murphy's Law? I don't think it is.
If something can go wrong, it will go wrong.
Which is
right.
Murphy's
so
Law.
What I'm trying to say is, if you're not really into audiobooks and it's the least of your, choices, as soon as you post that audiobook demo, you're going to be hired for an audiobook. You're like, oh God, I'm hired. So don't post it. Post not only what you're good at, but what really drives your passion as well.
Now, to loop back to how this all started, it was Dave's point about being comfortable with your voice and getting to know your voice. And that led into Mike saying, and when you're doing that, make sure that you're comfortable with those voices when you're putting your demo together, because it comes across if you're not. And finally, as you were just saying, Dave, about doing different projects and being comfortable doing those kind of projects, not just doing them because, oh, hey, it's a voiceover gig, but if you're not predisposed to really wanting to do audiobooks, but you find yourself doing it just because it's a job, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. I'm sure we've all at one point turned down a gig that we just weren't feeling it because we know that, maybe it's not in our wheelhouse, or maybe our passion just isn't there for it. And, I can't remember where I read this or who said it, but it's great advice for no matter what kind of voiceover job you're doing. Don't try to be the voice you aren't.
And don't try to be every voice. There's no need to have 25 demos on your website. Stick to where your strengths are, and where your passions are. Don't try to be everything. Try to be you.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Good night, everybody.
With that will tie in nicely into our 3 AmiVO's iceberg tip. We'll be back with more after this.
The 3 AmiVO's.
Warning. We'll be right back.
Changing the voiceover industry one toque at a time.
We're going to take a little break, but we'll be back in a while, so don't nobody go nowhere.
Here's another 3 AmiVO's iceberg tip.
Now, there's a phrase that gets thrown around that may seem like common sense, but really, it's actually true. Trust your instincts. As a performer and as a business person, usually our gut gives us a pretty good first indication. I mean, so often we get wrapped up in self-doubt that we turn to books, blogs, people, etc. because we don't trust our own instincts. Does a new client or job give you some bad vibes? Did your read on an audition script not translate the file as you thought? Am I the right voice for this project? It may sound like an extension of the saying, if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. But in instances like that, your gut and your instincts likely already had the correct answer you were looking for. So, listen to your gut from time to time. Trust those instincts. My gut's telling me that it needs a sandwich. I'm looking at my gut and I don't think it does. Oh, the dilemma.
And now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Hit it.
Welcome back to the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast. Now, a conference took place in Toronto a couple of weeks back. Voice World Toronto, to be exact. And the AmiVO's were represented in fine form. Well, at least 2/3 of the AmiVO's made it to the mixer and were actually speaking at the conference. And I will guiltily say that I was the odd man out.
Yes, but you have a good reason for it, though.
You had a good excuse.
Just quickly, it was my 40th birthday back in middle of April, and a good friend of mine organized this golf trip weekend up to Horseshoe Valley in Barrie, and well, it just so happened to fall on voices.com weekend, so it was, I kind of had to go with the golf. It was a nice weekend too. But you guys had not only a great night on the Friday night, but the actual conference as well was a huge success. So do tell.
Where should we begin? Well, let's start with the mixer, which was the Friday night at Spin Galactic in downtown Toronto, and this is a ping pong tabletop tennis kind of place, and I've never been there, and I have to admit I'm actually kind of surprised that places like this exist. I mean, I am and I'm not, but it's kind of like it's a novelty kind of thing, and I don't know if I've ever said, hey, I'm kind of bored tonight. Do you guys want to go play ping pong? But it was jumping in there. I mean, there were a lot of people. It was an interesting atmosphere, wasn't it, Garnet?
It was like a pool hall where you have 5 pool tables down one side of the room and then 5 down the other, and then a big alleyway in the middle, except they weren't pool tables, they were ping pong tables. And balls were just flying all over the place like it was a party at Jenna Jameson's house.
Yeah.
No word of a lie.
There we go.
But I'm
There we go.
ching. He'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
So, okay, of the weekend conference, some of the guest speakers, the most notable, the keynote speaker, Pat Fraley. Now, was Pat there for the mixer?
He
was there.
And you know what? Dave and I had the opportunity to go over and chat with Pat about, just a number of things. We started talking about the work that he does with Rob Paulson, because they've done some voice coaching seminars together. And he just talked about, how long he's been in the business and how things have changed in the voiceover industry in the 40 years that he's been involved. And I remember Dave and Pat actually got on the topic of just talking about Hollywood movie stars, and it went from Leo DiCaprio to Robert Redford, and how he's much taller than you'd think he would be, and Tom Cruise is much shorter than you think he is, and it was just kind of surreal talking to such a legend in the voiceover industry about mundane things about Hollywood actors and stuff. But it was really, really trippy and a lot of fun.
Was he a very approachable guy?
He was really nice guy, and I growing up, one of my favorite cartoons was the Ninja Turtles, and that was sort of it was neat. It was nice to be able to to meet somebody who is, Garnet said, who's been doing this for 40 years, is well respected, has worked on thousands of projects and films and TV shows and cartoons and you name it. And what's neat about it is you look at your career and you look at how well you're doing and how far you've come and how much more you still want to do and accomplish. And you look at sort of where you were maybe 10 years ago. And then if you were to snap your finger like it was a cut in a movie, just, one cut to the next, and all of a sudden there you are at Spin Galactic in Toronto as a working professional speaking with Pat Fraley as his equal. And that was neat. It's neat to sort of have that moment where you kind of look back and say, hey, I remember when I was a Ninja Turtle fan, I remember playing road hockey with my friends after school. And this is how ridiculous it was, really. It was an obsession. This and He-Man. I had to, I would leave the road hockey game because I wanted to be home in time to watch Ninja Turtles. I mean, this is how ridiculous it was, And I had all the figures and the sewer and all this kind of stuff. And I had Krang. And, it's neat. It's neat to be able to, pat yourself on the back from time to time and say, hey, I'm working hard and my hard work has sort of got me here. But anyway, that aside, yeah, he's really approachable, really, really nice guy, certainly knows his stuff. His hour and a half talk at the conference was great. He did the Krang impression, which was great, and he did a lot of others. So he's a great guy and approachable.
No, I was just going to say it was, I've had a great couple of months because AmiVO Mike and I, we went to Con G in February and we got to meet Rob Paulson. And then, a couple months later here in April, AmiVO Dave and I got to go to Voice World and meet Pat Fraley. It's, we're not going to rest until we get to meet all of the original cast of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So Townsend Coleman and, the rest of you guys, we're coming for you.
But here's the thing. The AmiVOs have yet to do this together because back in February, I've been having a lot of knee problems as of late and it's still ongoing. And back in February, I was so sore I couldn't make it. And then now, AmiVO Mike couldn't make this one because of his 40th birthday golfing celebration. And it's kind of like, when are the AmiVOs going to be together?
Well, all I can say from this is obviously I am not the weakest link in the group because I'm at everything.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I guess we're
so
weak.
That aside, now let's talk about the conference. Now, Dave, you did your presentation. A lot of the stuff that you talked about, we actually have talked about through the first podcast, through the first half of the second one here. What was your impression of the people that you were talking to? What was the one thing that you think they were honing in on or that they took away from your presentation in order to further their career?
What surprised me the most was the amount of people attending that had come from so far away. The furthest was Australia. Mm-hmm. There was a woman by the name of Natasha Raitt, and she flew all the way. She was great. She was very sweet, very kind, and obviously extremely passionate and motivated and dedicated to pursuing the craft, to fly all the way from Australia to Toronto. And she had said that she'd flown from Australia to Los Angeles, had a 7-hour, I stand to be corrected, but I believe she told me she had a 7-hour delay. And then she flew from Los Angeles to Toronto. And then there were people from all over the state. I think there were more people from the United States there than there were from Canada.
I had a great conversation with a guy by the name of Kevin Schuler, who drove down from Ohio. And this was his first voice conference. And he's relatively new to the voiceover industry, but he was just jazzed about going to all the seminars with Dave and Deb Monroe, Ellie Ray Hennessy, getting to, see Pat Fraley talk. So, people from all over Canada, the U.S., Australia, as Dave just said, it was such a great mix of people coming from all over the place.
Yeah, it was, and I think there was even somebody there from Nigeria too.
There was.
Yeah, so I mean, it surprised me. The amount of people that had come from so far away. That being said, when I spoke, I was pleasantly surprised that I had about 130 people jam-packed into the room that I was speaking in. And I thought that, wow, this is great. But then I thought, oh, crap, now I actually have to be good. But it was great. And I just talked about, I won't get into it here, of course, but I talked about the reality of the industry and how to, get to know your voice and, all that kind of stuff. So I only had an hour, and for somebody like me who never shuts up, that's not a lot of time. But I did the best that I could, and I got great feedback. People seem to enjoy it. People have gotten in touch with me outside of the conference, requesting some consultations or coaching or things like that. So that's been good. And it just, the passion and the dedication from everybody that attended. I think there was probably about 250 people that attended the conference. And it was a great day. Although it was kind of funny because I was dressed all in black, and I think people thought I worked there because everybody that was sort of around there. No, it's true. Like I had I had black jeans on and a black collared shirt with a nice tie and things like that. But all the Hilton Voice World people had black jeans, black shoes, black shirts, and I think people didn't really start to talk to me until after my talk.
Well, that's because people were probably sitting in the audience going, wow, I had no idea that the wait staff at the Hilton were so well schooled in voiceover.
It's totally true. I also I had this Johnny Cash thing happening, but it was good. It was a good conference, and I don't know if they'll do it again. I imagine they would, but something that I hope they do, and I don't know if they will. I personally would love to see them keep it in Canada. It would just be really nice to have that Canadian stamp on it, and if anything, we've been able to prove that people are willing to come to Canada and come to Toronto from all over the world. So you're not lacking in sort of the people, that are interested in it. It would just be nice, to keep it Canadian.
There's always options that you can make. And I want to,
like AmiVOCon.
AmiVOCon.
Oh,
the Canadian version.
AmiVOCon.
That's the Canadian version of FAFCon. Wait a minute. Somebody get Amy Snively on the phone.
Here.
Let's get Amy on the phone and see if we can't work some sort of a deal. AmiVOCon. I like it. I like where that's going.
We are definitely,
it sings,
it is in the works to see if we can get the 3 AmiVO's to FavCon in October. And, the Canadian invasion, it'd be the other way, the American invasion. No, wait a minute. No. How do you say it?
No.
You're invading...
Shania
Canadian
Twain,
invasion.
and us.
Right. Yeah. So the Canadian invasion is...
Canadians don't invade.
That's totally true. You're absolutely right. We welcome and shake hands and say, I'm sorry a lot. So that's
other people invade us, and we say sorry, our bad.
Yes, exactly. We're a nice bunch of
as we continue to perpetuate the stereotype.
Right.
Let's take a quick break, and then we'll wrap up this edition, the second edition of the AmiVO and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast. Back after this.
The 3 AmiVO's.
Warning. We'll be right back.
Changing the voiceover industry 1 toque at a time.
We're going to take a little break, but we'll be back in a while, so don't nobody go nowhere.
And now, it's time for another 3 AmiVO's fun fact.
Hey folks, AmiVO Dave here. So get this. This could be a crazy fact as well as a fun fact. So AmiVO Mike and I and Garnet have all had the same agent since 2005, right? I mean, that's kind of creepy and crazy all on its own. But get this. AmiVO Mike and I also have the same dog. Well, not really the same dog. I mean, he has a golden lab and I have a golden retriever. But they're both named Indy after Indiana Jones. And get this. Mike and I didn't even know each other until about the end of 2008. I mean, we kind of heard the name, but we didn't meet until the end of 2008. So what are the odds that 2 voice actors in the same city would have the same agent for the same amount of time and also have dogs from the Golden family, both named Indy after Indiana Jones? It's crazy. I mean, what is the world coming to? It's insane. It's too bad that last Indiana Jones wasn't that great. I mean, I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan, but what happened? Oh, George.
Now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Hit it.
Welcome back to the VOdcast. Just about set to wrap it up for this edition. Now, before we go, just thought, let's see what the AmiVO's are up to in their own professional careers. We're well into May as we get close to the summer months and all the fun stuff that comes with that. So, AmiVO Dave, what's going on in your world?
Nothing. No. Let me think. I've been busy doing, trailers and promos, and I'm waiting at this very moment to find out whether or not Four Weddings Canada has been picked up for a third season. I haven't heard anything yet, so my fingers are crossed there. I'm still doing all the Travel and Escape stuff and the Encore Avenue stuff.
I was going to ask you something about the Encore Avenue stuff, Dave. What's this DHX stuff that you're doing?
It's online, and it's a YouTube channel that kids can go to and subscribe to, and I think that's what it is anyway. Or maybe it's the YouTube channel's advertising the website. I'm just the voice guy. What the hell do I know?
I watched it, and the clips that were in there, they were all shows that my son watches. It was like Jimmy Two Shoes and all these other shows that are the 10 to early teens kind of stuff, but it was like really fun and really...
They have a couple of channels. They have DHX Junior, DHX Kids, and DHX Encore. And DHX Junior is for probably like kids that are like, 2 and 3 and 4. And DHX Kids are your, like 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever. And DHX Encore is for probably, like me who, remembers, the Care Bears or something like that. It's more of a DHX retro kind of thing.
Care Bears? That's your go-to?
I know.
That's your go-to animated?
Wasn't that awful?
Jeez.
Wasn't that awful?
Mike and I are like G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats, Dave's Care Bears.
Yeah, and even my daughter is into Gem, and she's 5.
Gem and the holograms. Wow. You're right.
Gem is truly outrageous. You know what I loved about the ad? I watched it tonight when you put it up on your Facebook page, and I always hear you doing like the voice man and all the trailer stuff.
Yeah.
And when you did that, like you just had this. It's the polar opposite of the stuff you do with your trailer voice.
Yeah.
And it just, I was like, holy. My God, that's Dave? Because I haven't really heard anything of yours yet that had that kind of kid-centric focus to it. But it sounded like really energetic and just really young and fresh. And I was surprised. I'm like, why the hell didn't Mike and I get that?
I didn't audition for it.
No offense.
I recorded it on the 11th of April down at Wanted. I'm always down at... I just did some Mary Brown's kitchen radio ads for out east, and there's always stuff happening. It's day to day.
Again with that.
Yeah, but I wasn't a chicken though. I was just a regular kind of guy. I was just an announcer guy. I wasn't like a chicken. Hey Chuck, no.
That's very good.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
So now, Garnet, you're working on a project. I don't think you can tell us too much about it because it's still sort of in the hush-hush, which I think most voice actors at some point are familiar with, the whole NDA, the non-disclosure. But you've got something that's kind of interesting that's on the go, which may actually turn out to be something where the AmiVO's finally will be under the same roof, so to speak.
Yes, the one that you're talking about specifically right now is in the shortlist stage, but it will be a TV channel that's going to launch in September, and I can't say too much more about it, but I would be if I was to get it, and it's apparently down to me and one other person, it would be launching in September, and it would be like the promo imaging voice for this national TV channel, which is under, as you said, the group umbrella of a company that also handles Travel and Escape for Dave and Byte TV for Mike. So I'm really looking forward to that, and any good vibes you want to send my way to help ensure that I get this. Hopefully find out within the next couple of days. In addition to that, I just recently did a national campaign for an insurance company here in Canada called Oh, hell, I can't remember. But I did
See what I mean?
Hunters.
You see
Thank
what I
you.
mean?
Thank
We
you,
don't
Amiivo Mike.
remember anything. We just do stuff.
Insurance Hunters, that's right, exactly. With a very good friend of Amiivo Mike's and mine, Tom Park. He's the announcer in the spot. I played customer, and it was a lot of fun getting to work with Tommy in studio. Also at Wanted, where you recorded last week, Dave.
Yes.
And what else? Oh, I know what I'm very, very excited about. I narrate a TV show on Food Network called Dinner Party Wars, and we've had 2 very successful seasons, and the 3rd season is ready to launch on Food Network coming up May 27th.
Yeah!
New episodes.
Awesome.
Season 3 launches, and so I'm really excited about that because I'm a bit of a foodie as well. So when I got that gig, it was kind of like the mothership calling me home. And that's pretty much everything I got going on. Aside from that, I want to give a shout out actually to Pearl Hewitt, who threw a open audition out on Facebook to any male actors looking to help out with some technical videos for a company that she deals with in Houston, Texas. And I guess about 9 other people sent in our MP3 auditions, and I was fortunately chosen. So I really want to thank Pearl for giving that lead, because the man I'm working with is fantastic, and we're doing a lot of their technical e-learning kind of corporate videos for training for geologists and stuff like that. So it's a really interesting project because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about when I voice it, but I'm learning a lot, and hey, knowledge is power.
I can't believe you pulled the knowledge is power. I thought for sure you were going to do the whole, and now you know, knowing is half the battle. Mr. G.I.
Now enough
Joe.
about us. Enough about us. What do you think about us?
Exactly. Yeah.
What's going on with Amiivo Mike?
I gotta use
What's going
that
on
somewhere.
with Amiivo Mike?
Amiivo Mike is, I'm actually similar to you, Garnet, I've been working on a show that's going to be debuting on Discovery World, which it's one of the offshoots of the Discovery Channel, called The Chef's Domain, which is ironically another foodie type show. 10-episode run, which is going to be kicking off in July, so I'm very excited about that. The big thing is I'm very psyched, as we've mentioned in the VOdcast before, Amiivo Garnet and I, and actually Amiivo Dave too, Mr. Nerf, and then we've Mr. Hasbro. We've done some toy commercials over our career. I'm very excited that I finally cracked the Disney nut. So
working for the mouse.
Just got word that a couple of commercials that I was hired through a great guy by the name of Marshall in New York, who was looking for a voice for a couple of spots for some toys for the upcoming Monsters University movie. So we just got the final approval on that. So I'm pretty psyched to finally say that I've worked with a Disney product. Now my wife will probably continue to push me to start getting into the Disney family a little more, voicing rides and stuff. But baby steps. So very excited about that.
Awesome.
That will wrap it up for this VOdcast. I just want to throw out again, if you want to get a hold of us, don't forget to stop by the website, www.3amivos.com. You can also visit our individual websites. Amiivo Dave is at thevoiceman.ca.
No.
No, I always screw that up. Voiceman.com.
That's right.
Voiceman with 2 N's.com.
Correct.
DaveMcRae.ca.
There you go.
Okay. Amiivo Garnet is at WilliamsVoiceovers.com. See, that one I can get.
It's easy.
And Amiivo Mike is still at allthingsmike.ca at the present time. I'm still contemplating whether or not to just leave voiceover altogether and become a Sherpa. I don't know. That's all.
Well, that's not bad. I've got a lot of candles and incense burning right now for Garnet's audition,
Thank you.
and
Yes.
I got a lot of woo stuff happening right now. My cat is in on it, and then the dog and everything, and it's great. So I'm sending
I
positive
appreciate
vibes
that.
your way.
So, on behalf of Amiivo Dave in Georgetown, Ontario, and Amiivo Garnet down in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario.
Ole!
Was that a staple gun?
I clapped my hand. Shut up.
I thought you sound like a twig breaking or something.
That's some great Foley there. That is some great Foley. I am Amiivo Mike in Brantford, Ontario, saying thank you for joining us on another edition of the Amiivo and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour Vodcast. Till next we meet again, a hearty ole.
Ole.
We are finished. We are over. It's over.
The AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour Vodcast has been brought to you by the 3 AmiVO's.
Show's over.
It was written, recorded, edited, and produced from deep within the Great White North by Dave McRae, Garnet Williams, and Mike Pongracz.
Are we going bye-bye?
For more AmiVO fun, questions, or comments, check us out online at 3amivos.com, on Twitter at the 3 AmiVO's,